Mr. Fox was walking through the woods looking for something to take home for the family. And as he walked and he looked, and at the corner of his eye he saw a turkey just lazing on the branch of a tree. "Mr. Turkey," shouted Mr. Fox, "come down here and let me eat you." Old Turkey just sat on that branch and started to shiver as he saw the fox below. "Turkey," cried Mr. Fox, "I don't want any trouble. Don't make me come up there and make me get you." Now, that was a lie, you see, because foxes can't climb the trees. And old Mr. Turkey just stood there and sat on the branch and shivered and shivered and shivered. "Turkey," cried Mr. Fox, "don't give me any more trouble, and don't think you can fly to the next tree, because I'll just shake you down." And old Turkey just sat there and was scared. "Turkey," cried Mr. Fox, "whatever you do, do not fly into the open fields. That's where I can't catch you." "No, said Mr. Turkey. He's told me how I can escape." And so it was that Turkey took off into the open fields and away from the woods. And old Mr. Fox, he started to chase and chase and chase. Now the turkey flew high and higher and higher, and old Fox there, he thought he was going to lose him. But turkeys can't fly very far. And so it was that after a while, old Turkey started to descend and descend and descend and hit the ground with a bump. And old Fox sprang and started to eat the turkey. And he gobbled and gobbled and gobbled. And when he'd finished, he looked around and he noticed a shadow beside him. A man with a hammer, a truncheon, trying to beat him over the head. And he ran and he ran and he ran. And when he looked again, the shadow was still there. The club raised to beat him over the head. And he ran and he ran and he ran and he stopped and he looked, and the club was still there. And he became tired and out of breath. And he started to just run a little bit slower. And when he stopped, the man with the truncheon was still there. And Fox lay on the ground and put his arm up to fend against the truncheon. And there it was, the feather from the turkey. And old Mr. Fox, he went back home and said to his wife, I couldn't get any food. I fought a mountain lion. And we fought for hours and hours, and eventually I beat him. But I have no food. And so it turned out, to this day, when you see a fox, he never runs straight away. He will walk from side to side, looking over his shoulder to make sure that the man with the truncheon's not there. And he'll do that to this day. That was Fox and the Turkey. Now there were a whole family of mice, and they had it easy. Long grass to eat and lots of water from the river to drink. But there was a problem. Every morning old Mr. Fox would come down from the lair. He'd take a drink of water for the family and then a drink of water for himself. And every morning he would chase the mice. Now he wouldn't catch them, but it was a problem. And so the mice got together and they decided they would try and trick Mr. Fox. Said the chief mouse. What can we do to just trick Mr. Fox? They thought, and they thought, and they thought. And one mouse said, I've heard that if you say a certain phrase, you can make Mr. Fox laugh. But what was that phrase? One fox, one mouse from the back, piped up, I've heard that if you cry yellow behind the ears, then Mr. Fox will laugh. Said the chief mouse. We'll try that in the morning. And so it was that before Mr. Fox came down to the river, the mice all hid in the long grass. And then it was that Mr. Fox came down. And he walked to the river and he took a big mouthful of water for himself and carried a mouthful of water back to the family. He turned. And as he turned, the chief mouse raised his hands. Yellow behind the ears! Mr. Fox laughed and all the water came out. And he looked around. Nobody was there. He went down and he took another mouthful of water and turned to walk 1, 2, 3, 4. Yellow behind the ears. The water came out again and he looked and he looked. Who's there? Cried Mr. Fox. No sound. He took one more mouthful of water, and this time he took so much water that his cheeks bulged and his eyes bulged, and he was determined to keep his mouth closed. He turned and he walked, and he walked, and he walked, and he reached the hill, and he walked, and he walked. Chief Mouse gave the signal. Yellow behind the ears! The water came out and Mr. Fox, he looked around. There was nothing there. No one. Ghosts, thought Mr. Fox. And foxes are afraid of ghosts. He ran all the way back to his lair, and when he got there, his wife said, "Where's our water, Mr. Fox?" Oh, Fox, he told a lie. He told the story of a fight with a mountain lion and how he just managed to defeat the lion and get back home, but that wasn't enough for Mrs. Fox. And that's why from that day to this day, old Fox has to take a detour around the field for 2 to 3 miles, and every time he goes to the water, he looks and he looks and he looks. and he remembers the day he met the mice. Thank you.